After watching this video, you'll be able to define a minimum viable product and recognize how an MVP should be used to give the customer what they really want. Let's talk about a minimum viable product. First, let's understand what it is not, because there are some misconceptions that a minimum viable product is the same as phase 1 of a project or the first beta or something like that. This is not what a minimum viable product is. A minimum viable product is the minimal thing that you can do to test a value hypothesis and gain learning and understanding. You might say it's the cheapest thing you can do to prove a hypothesis. You can finish the first MVP, then you get the results and move on to the second one and so on. The difference between these two is that the first one is all about delivery. What am I going to deliver? But the second one is all about learning. What can I learn? What can I learn from putting out this MVP and getting feedback and then maybe making the next one even better? So it's important at the end of each MVP, you decide whether to pivot or persevere. Should I pivot? That is, do something different, or persevere? Continue doing what I'm doing. Let's look at an example. Here's a team that's developing a minimum viable product for a customer that wants a red car. And so in the first iteration, they deliver a wheel. And the customer's like, what am I going to do with a wheel? I can't do anything with this. Well, we're working iterations, they say. We're trying to be agile here. In the next iteration, we'll give you something more. And they give the customer a chassis. And the customer responds, I still can't do anything with this chassis. And then they give them a car with no steering wheel, and eventually, they get the whole car. Now the customer gets this coupe. And there's no feedback along the way. The team didn't know until the end whether the customer is going to like what they built or not. The team did not understand how to create a minimum viable product. They were just doing iterative development with no regard to whether each increment was useful or not. The second team understands the value of creating an MVP. At first, they give the customer a skateboard, and the customer says, what's this? I asked you for a car, you give me a skateboard. And the team said, no, wait. We're testing the color. How do you like that color red? Is that the color you want? The customer says, oh yeah, red's kind of cool. It's really hard to steer though. So team says, no worries. In the next MVP, they give them a way to steer it. And the customer says, well, okay, you did give me a way to steer it, but I can't go very fast. I need a better form of locomotion. And so the team deals with that in the next MVP. In the next iteration, they give them pedals to go faster. Somewhere along the way, while riding on that motorcycle, feeling the wind in their hair, the customer decides, I really want a convertible. In the first instance, the customer got exactly what they asked for months prior, because the development team was just following a plan. But in the second instance, the customer got exactly what they desired because they were working iteratively and interactively with the development team. In the end, you develop something that's a little bit different, but it's closer to what the customer really wants. Giving the customer what they really want is the main purpose of delivering an MVP. A minimum viable product is a tool for learning. It's an experiment to explore the value proposition with your customer. And this experiment may fail, and that's okay, because failure leads to understanding. What did you learn from that failure? What did it teach you? What is the next experiment? What will you do different the next time? These are the questions that lead to gaining knowledge and understanding about what you're building. This is why we use MVPs in DevOps. In this video, you learned an MVP is the minimal thing that you can do to test your hypothesis. An MVP is not about delivery as much as learning. It's okay if the MVP fails. Make sure that you learn from it.